the first book, and I think we decided we're not going to go like chapter and verse by verse, but we will scan through and look at the main things of it. Yes. So last week, what we tried to do was to have some introduction and look at the first book of and look at the beginning chapter of the book, right? And then we try to understand what Solomon was trying to get across to us. And what we had said was that for Solomon, he was merely looking at the world without the hand of God. So if an unbeliever were to sit down and look at the entire orchestration of the world, nature and how humans operate, without having a God factor, what the person did see, and the conclusions that he drew, and then he brought that to us. And then later he will tell us how important it was for God to be in the midst of the affairs of man. So we looked at that introduction, and then we looked at why Solomon said that everything was futile, everything was chasing after the wind, and then he gave some points why. And then we talked about the futility of wisdom. Today we would continue with the futility of self-indulgence. So if we go to the chapter 2 and then we read. So Solomon, after giving himself to wisdom, looking for insight and understanding why everything was, and amassing knowledge, he continued to indulge in something else. And then what did he say? He said, I said to myself, come now, I will test you with pleasure to find out what is good. But that also proved to be meaningless. So first he said that wisdom was meaningless. Laughter, I said, is madness. And what does pleasure accomplish? I tried sharing myself with wine and embracing fully, my mind still guiding me with wisdom. I wanted to see what was good for people to do under the heavens during the 3 days of their lives. So Solomon, so we have somebody who we said he was, he was there, he did everything, he saw everything, whatever that we were aspiring to do, he already attained it. And last Tuesday, there's some time missed in this slide. When we talk about the wealth of Solomon, Solomon, in terms of the money that he received from all the kingdom that around him that he had oversight of, tribute that he collected, it was worth $40 billion. The richest man today, Jeff Bezos, 23 billion. So it means Solomon, in terms of wealth, nobody has ever surpassed his wealth. And that was just the money that he collected as tribute from other people. So forget about the taxes. I remember during his time, he was taxing very high. The Israelites, he was taxing them high because that was when they were wealthy. So, plus the gifts that came to him from different places, put everything together, he was in probably 50, 60 billion. So nobody had ever been rich as him. So that's the man who had it all. And he's saying that, everything else was futile. All the things that we do to get to where he has been is futile. Yes. And then, after he went into wisdom, he tried to give himself to self-indulgence. The laugh here is not laughing because but this is pleasure. Just giving yourself to pleasure, happiness, like what the world calls happiness, partying. So you go to parties, you visit places where there is enjoyment. That's what he was. That's what he did. And remember, he did it willingly. He wanted to see if you get satisfaction there. He gave himself to drinking, and to, womanizing. We know he had about 1,000, women to himself, right? That is Solomon. But after he did all of this, he said it was futile. It was futile. And for many of us, maybe we have passed that stage when we are in high school, we are in universities, and there's that's life, what you call life. Yeah, everybody's going, let's go to parties, let's go to, in high school they say jams, if you went to a boarding school, then on Fridays there is entertainment nights. So there are days people come and perform, there are days watch a movie, and there are days that is disco. You play music, you all lock yourself in the entertainment hall, and then you dance, you go. And then, so Solomon is saying he did all of these things. Today is a party scene, nightclubs. For some people they are just after their hard day's work, they have to go and unwind. So they go to a nightclub, there's music, they party. How do you say it? Your mama calls you home. Your party till your mama calls you home. Party, and then you come. So if your mama doesn't call you, which means you're not gonna your mother's watch. It means so you are wasted. So Kofi Kinata will then play the song for us. You are the magician. God should come for the steer because now so you are all wasted, and you must take us home safely. So that is. And Solomon is saying all of this. We try to feel that satisfy the our physical needs, enjoyment, make sure that we are seeking for some satisfaction within us. Someone said that he tried all of this and it was futile. So he said parties and drinking do not take away the pain, which is true. Many of us, in the account culture, they say that if you can't talk to your mother-in-law, directly, you have to go and take some wine, cover your eyes, and then you can face your in-laws. You can tell them your peace of mind. You could have a church your mind, go and drink and come and tell them your mind. But you realize that after the alcohol is gone, it is same old you. If you are run away from pain and then you take alcohol, the alcohol is not taking the pain away. After the alcohol is gone, you come back to your memory and then all that whatever is causing you the pain, you would remember. And for some people, it continues because that's the only way they continue to drink to cover up their pain. But we have to face the pain and deal with it, otherwise you can't. But basically, what Solomon is saying is that drinking, all this pleasure, entertainment, enjoyment, physical pleasure, it amounts to nothing. And again, it's a waste of our time. It's a complete waste of our time. And then when we come to the chapter 3, then we will take a look at something else. It's a waste of our time. And you think about it, you work from Monday to Friday, you go to unwind, then you party till Saturday morning, you have hangovers, then you sleep the whole day, you are wasted. In the afternoon, you are tired. Basically tired. The whole Saturday basically is wasted. You don't have time to do other things. If you have friends, you have family, then what? You're going to sleep and not even have time for them. So it's a waste of time. If you're somebody who had enjoyed all of this and then you have count back all the days where you have enjoyed these things, then you will see how much time wasted on things that are unfruitful. If you have ever had a conversation with people who have been through this, or people are old and they have seen their time, they will tell you that it was just a waste of their time. Plus the things that you involve in are not healthy as well. So this is what Solomon is saying: self-indulgence is futility, it's a chasing after the wind. If you thought that you make more money, you have to go for entertainment, you enjoy, and then you feel accomplished, or you satisfy the soul or the emptiness in you. He says, no, don't try it. It doesn't bring anything to you. And it's two things, because it doesn't take the pain or the emptiness away. And second one, it's a complete waste of your time. And time that we say we don't always have, you can't be wasting it in that sense as well. So we looked at the futility of wisdom, futility of self-indulgence, futility of wealth, and women as well. So we said I undertook great projects. I built houses for myself and planted vineyards. I made gardens and parks and planted all kinds of fruit trees in them. I made reservoirs to water. So basically, he's talking about his accomplishments, his feat, the things that he went out to do to achieve. If I get money, I'll do this. I'll build this down for this people. I'll do this. I'll do this. They are all good, but you can read all that he did. He owned more heads and flocks than anyone in Jerusalem before him. He amassed silver and gold for himself and the treasure of the kings and provinces. He acquired male and female singers. Basically, he had everything he wanted. If you read, I don't think anybody today can lay claim to this thing. Everything was at his whim, and what he wants is what he gets. He orders this, he gets this. My heart took delight in all my labor, and this was the reward for my toil. Yet when I surveyed all that my hands had done and what I had toiled to achieve, everything was meaningless. A chasing after the wind. Nothing was gained under the sun. See, from the 4 all the way to the 10, he had two great projects which are accomplishments in our sense. He's achieving. These are it. I mean, if you go to politics today, oh, I built the airport, I built this, I built that, I did this, I did. Everybody's laying claim to some accomplishment. By the 11, then he says, he concludes by saying everything was meaningless, chasing after the wind. Nothing was gained. All these things are supposed to be accomplishment, gains that you have made. He says nothing was gained. And remember, if you're looking at, he's looking at life without God at this point. Mark, turn down, they're achieving all of this. So they may be pleasure because probably you are doing good to some people, and then that brings some joy that you are, in your mind you are doing some philanthropic work. So of course there will be some enjoyment inside. But he said that it is futile in chasing after the wind, because more money doesn't bring you happiness. You get money, you accomplish all of this, but it still doesn't give you happiness, because at this point there's no God factor in it. So there's still that emptiness. If you think that was your life purpose, that's because last week you have some very grand, ambitions, some purpose, life purpose, and everybody's here to contribute to humanity and make the world a better place before they leave. We try to play with this in our minds and think once we get this, it says no. Because if this is purely from a human point of view, there's nothing in it. Right? So this is Solomon. He said everything, wealth is futile. It doesn't satisfy you. It doesn't give you any pleasantries. And so we would be wise to listen to the person who has been to where we are trying to be, and then we will take caution. Then we can look more on wisdom. Then I tried my thoughts to consider wisdom and also madness and folly. What more can the king's successor do than what has already been done? I saw that wisdom is better than folly, just as light is better than darkness. The wise have eyes in their hands while the fool walks in darkness, but I came to realize that the same fate overtakes all, and that is the punchline. Then I said to myself, the fate of the fool will overtake me also. What then do I gain by being wise? I said to myself, this too is meaningless. For the wise, like the fool, will not be long remembered. The days have already come and both have been forgotten. Like the fool, the wise too must die. That's the common fate of man. So as last week we were saying, then Brasande was making an example of his professor who spent all his life accumulating books and knowledge. He died, and people couldn't walk in soon because full of books. He died. He died. He left the books. The wife learned a lesson and decided to also take a vacation because he couldn't allow that fate to happen to him. But there was that mad person on the street who also died and was also buried. The same fate. And maybe you can get a very nice casket to be laid inside, but it's dead, you are gone. You don't even see the casket you have been buried. It's for the pleasure of your family to feel good about themselves that they did something good for you. But for you, there's no gain. And the more important question will be, after time and you begin eternity, what is there? So the same fate for all of us. The only thing he says that probably wisdom, whilst you live, is good because you have your eyes in your hand, meaning you know probably where you're going. Probably you have ideas what you're doing. At the end of the day, the same fate comes to you, die. Again, remember here, this is a person who's looking at the world on a one-sided view without God in it. So the same fate befalls all of us. Neither the fool nor the wise will be remembered after death. Maybe Solomon is remembered because he was fight for, and we can bring that into the God factor. But how many of us remember those people who were wise and like there are some proverbs that we have in our local dialects, and we don't even know who coined those proverbs. We always say that our elders say. That elder who said if you don't know, he's gone. Maybe the saying remains. Maybe for the Europeans they are good at writing a few things, and so we can back up. But that's all we know of the person. So the point Solomon is making is that when we're chasing all of these things, we try to pose wisdom, we try to pose wise, for us, everything. You want to show that you have some material wisdom, and then and then you try to poke people's thinking and trying to punch holes, then gain more wisdom and gain more this and gain all of that. It's good to have wisdom to guide you in what you do, but the idea is that is your lifetime ambition, to be chasing it. Then it says that when you gain it, it's emptiness, there's nothing in there, right? Then the other thing, futility in being workaholic, and this is important. Maybe this I would. I hated all the things I had toiled for under the sun. Toiled. Because I must leave them to the one who comes after me. And who knows whether that person would be wise or foolish. Yet they would have control over all the fruit of my toil, into which I have poured my effort and skill under the sun. This too is meaningless. So my heart began to despair over all my toilsome labor under the sun. For a person may labor with wisdom, knowledge, and skill, and then must leave all they own to another who has not toiled for it. This too is meaningless, a great misfortune. What do people get for all their toil and anxious striving with which they live under the sun? All their days, their work is grief and pain. Even at night, their mind do not rest. This too is meaningless. A person can do nothing better than to eat and drink and find satisfaction in their own toil. This too I see is from the hand of God. For without him, who can eat or find enjoyment? To the person who pleases him, God gives wisdom, knowledge, and happiness. But to the sinner, he gives the task of gathering and storing up wealth to hand it over to the one who pleases God. This too is meaningless, a chasing after the wind. This hearing is and I don't know, but for many of us, maybe we may see ourselves in this one. I mean, I ask myself in this. When it comes to the mind doesn't rest. I mean, these days, for a while now, I don't take work home, so it's better. Yes, but previously, we work from Monday to Friday. This weekend, family time or time with your friends, time for yourself and God. But no, we don't. We will find a reason to do something. If only I could write that piece of code, if I can just edit this piece of line in the code, maybe the weekend will be over. It's 10 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour. I can make this look nicer. It's 2 hours, 4 hours. It's almost then before you realize the day is over. It's gone. You are working. And it says that your mind doesn't sleep. And many of us, maybe we know this. We go to sleep. And then I remember when we were in school and then we were doing programming, trying to tackle this serious issue. Then you go to bed. Then in the middle of the night, you just wake up, take your laptop because you have an idea. And because if you don't do it, you may forget. Probably it's the same for people who write assignments, you are trying to crack and you can't. But that is the toil of man. We are struggling when we are supposed to rest and take a break. And remember, if you look at the verse 24, it says, a person can do nothing better than to eat, drink, and find satisfaction in their own toil. This too I see is from the hand of God. This is what God wants us to do, that we enjoy the toil of our labor. But then he goes to say, to the person who pleases him, God gives wisdom, knowledge, and happiness. That is the wisdom. The wisdom and knowledge for you to see that you must enjoy your labor. Because when you do it, the happiness will come. And then he says, but for the sinner, he gives the task of gathering and storing up wealth. To be taken over by somebody else. So the wisdom is that when it's time to work, you work. When it's time to be away from work, you are away from work. Because that's what God wants you to do, and that is the wisdom he gives. But the one who doesn't know, he's working all the time, gathering money or finishing stuff, gaining things. No, he says that is not what God wants, and that is to the sinner. Because you gather all of this, you do all of this, and somebody takes it over. Work is, what do you do? Work is, you are paid to do your work. That's what you do. So the hours that you are not paid, you work. It's futile. It's futile. It will go a long way for you to finish some tasks and do a few things. But technically, you are only paid to do your work on when we call it a work day. These are working days, so you work on those working days. And after that, you're not supposed to, put in. And when we come to time, Then we realize why maybe sometimes we're not able to finish all that we need to do, or we cannot keep up with all the things that we have to do, because probably we waste some time somewhere. Yes, and again, there will always be a reason not to always do one work or the other when it's not time to. But you must remember that overworking or workaholism doesn't add anything to you. It doesn't give you any additional thing. It's futile. It's waste of time. You gather all the money. If it's money you are chasing, you gather all the money. What happens? He says somebody who might be foolish will take it over. And there are countless examples of how rich people have been succeeded by their sons or their daughters who do not know how to manage their wealth. Because they didn't try to make the money. Because daddy had money, mommy had money, they were spoiled from the beginning. So when you go and when you die, they take over. It's complete waste. They waste it for you. To the extent that it doesn't even go to the next generation. Mm-hmm. It doesn't even go to the next generation. They will destroy everything, and then the family come back to the institution again. And then maybe some point in time, some boy or girl from the same family line will say, no, I want to change this again. They also become alcoholics and probably go to the next cycle again. So the important thing is that, you enjoy what you have. And then, of course, when we say you should work and enjoy, it doesn't mean that you just go to work in the morning and come back in the evening. When you are paid to do your work, you do it, as the Bible says, that you work with all your strength and your mind, as if you are doing it unto God. That's what you do. And when you do it with that time, you accomplish what you need to accomplish. And then you can have time for other things that are also important. Solomon concludes from all this, from the 18 to 24, that overworking is also futile for a number of reasons. One, all I gain from work is left to another who has not worked. He may be a fool, he cannot manage it well. Overworking brings grief and a lack of rest. And many of us, we know that how tired we become, and some people die because of that, And last we have a discussion about the lifespan of, again, software engineers, because there are those who do not have, not the only people, but they don't have, they can't separate between work and rest, because there's a laptop they work on, they can carry it anywhere. It's tempting to continue working. And so I think like 49 years, 50 years, average lifespan of the software engineer. So they work a lot, they don't eat well because they are known not to they have a very, very bad lifestyle. But that is not them. There are many people like that, top executives. If you are in communication and marketing and you want to achieve, you want to get higher, you must work hard, you must bring in the numbers, because you get bonus for the kind of deals you bring in. So you are working hard, you are cutting each other's legs, so you can find, if you're in a law firm, you want to become a partner, you must win cases, you must, each of you probably to work with your colleagues at the firm. No, you must take everything for yourself. You are doing the research, you are doing this by yourself, you are building everything is just onto you. Before you make a partner, you're already too old or probably too sick or too strong enough to enjoy probably the work of your labor. It's in many fields, in many of us, the work that we do. We spend so much time thinking that we can, make something change or something worthwhile. The problem we have worked on for a very long time, and we are still working at it. It's probably not you who's going to fix it. And even if you fix it, it will come back again. Your own is to do what you can, what your strength provides you. So the key is to enjoy the fruit of your labor. Do not overwork. You will not find lasting satisfaction in your work. So if you thought that probably if you work hard, then you get some satisfaction. People say that if you work at your hobbies or what you like, then it's not work. What do they say? You are being paid to do what you like. That's what you like to see. You are being paid for what you like. So for you, it's not work. Yeah, it could be true, but if you think about it, well, maybe I've not been there, so I don't know what it is like to be paid to do what you enjoy doing. At the end of the day, it's work. It is work. The tendency of every human being is to relax. If you are working so hard because you make some amount of money, then you can relax after. That is the point. Yeah. I don't think anybody is made to be working all their life. Work, because they make them happy because they are working. They are working hard now, so you work, make you build your pension, you go retirement and CC, and then you enjoy it. Even society pushes that. So the key is that working does not bring satisfaction, so we cannot chase after work. And that's what Solomon probably had. He's observed under the sun. He looked at the goings of men, the comings of men. See people working hard, breaking their backs, a lot of yoke on their shoulders. They are working, they are doing stuff, doing all the stuff that they need to do. Of course, you must survive, but yes, there's a limit to it. What is that you're looking for, right? Then we come to 3. Now, I want to paint us a picture. Now, so if you wake up one morning, and then or you got a call, and then you got a call that somebody decided to give you $864 every day. $864 every day. And your job is to spend that money. Spend all that money in the day. It's not like I'm going to save some. So I will spend like $100 and you save the rest. No. Every day he gives it to you. If you don't make it, it's like it's gone. He gives it to you. What would be your attitude towards that call?
It's punishment.
Punishment.
Yeah. Can you give out of it?
Eh?
Can you give others out of it?
It's spending. Whether you spend, it's giving is spending.
I love it. I will never work again. Every day. I spend that. If I don't pay, I give.
Every day, if you don't spend,
I give others.
It's not enough.
It comes to like $315,000 a year. But it gives you on a daily basis. So
it's not enough.
From 00 to 11:59, then another one will come. You can't carry that money over.
No carry over.
Yes.
It's not even enough to spend.
You said it's not enough?
Yeah.
For a day. How much would you eat? Do you eat?
$365.
800.
You said 300.
No, 800.
800.
$864.
That's like 8,000 Swedish crowns.
864.
It's not enough a day.
It's not enough.
Every day.
Every day.
Man, what do you do?
It's not about what I eat now. There are a lot of people that need it.
No. Like,
Exactly. Yourself,
I didn't think
give
I didn't think of
No,
the
he said
fact of
giving
that.
is
You
paying.
No,
didn't-
it's spending. I mean,
That one is fine.
It's your budget, not
So-
people's budget.
so
That's for
technically
people's
it's
budget.
giving
Then
you
it's
like-
not
It's,
enough.
it's okay now. If you spend
Only
little and give her, it's fine. But
Okay.
only you.
Only you
Yeah,
are happy.
that's why I said it was
Everybody-
punishment.
It's not enough.
Budgeting for other people.
Exactly,
I'm
that's
already
okay.
thinking something else.
If for other people, it's okay. But only you.
Only.
8,000.
800.
800.
8,000 secular.
Okay, 1,000.
So you get up every day and you just go and spend.
Yeah.
That's your plan. Plan of spending.
You will die very shortly. Very shortly.
So if you take that away, so let's bring it back. I mean, if you convert that into pennies, American pennies, that's like 864,000 something pennies. So let's backtrack. I see that's what you're depositing into account every day. If we take all of that and say that is seconds, you take away the dollars and make it seconds. So it's no longer money, it's now time.
Yeah.
So that is the reality check. God has given all of us that time. 84,600 seconds a day. I think that amounts to 24 hours. Yes, if you do the math backwards. That is what we have. We don't carry that over. Remember, time today I did only 12 hours. So today I'm carrying my 12 hours to tomorrow. And then tomorrow I have 36 hours to myself to work.
I say you should play the Lego with you.
So if we come back to the idea of time, that is what it is. Look at the money. Oh, you do this, you do this too much to spend, Basically saying there's too much time on our hands. Maybe yes, so I can give some of my money, I can give some of my time, which is not possible. You cannot give time, everything is for yourself, right? So the question, how then do you manage that time? How do we manage that time? This is to everyone. All of us human beings, we have this time. We don't have it. Nobody has more, nobody has less. As long as unless you're on Mars, then you have 30 minutes extra. Beyond that, we are all here, you don't have any. Nobody has more time than that person, whether in the United States. Maybe your time will start differently, but you still have the same 24 hours. All of us have the same time. So I'm bringing that to give us the picture of time, and seasons that are available to us. If it is money, maybe we think we have ways to maneuver it and do stuff with it. But when it comes to time, that maneuvering does not exist. And it takes only the grace of God to be able to have this wisdom to be able to manage our time correctly. Time management skills. We buy books on time management, Atomic Habits, how to then all those things. Yeah. and then it comes back to self-discipline and grace of God to help you with that. So there's a time for everything, a season for every activity under the heavens. A time to be born and a time to die. A time to plant, a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal. A time to tear down, a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh. Time to mourn and a time to dance, a time to scatter stones and a time to gather them. A time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing. A time to search and a time to give up. A time to keep and a time to throw away. A time to tear and a time to mend. A time to be silent and a time to speak. A time to love and a time to hate. A time for war and a time of peace. You know, this is so Solomon tells us time. There's time for everything. If we look amongst us, we know we are in different. Of course, the time that you are single, the time that you court, the time that you marry, the time that you have kids. And this time come with different things that you can do. It places limitations on us by virtue of the time. If you take seasons in itself, seasons places limitations on what we can do. Winter, summer, they place limitations on what we can do, or they provide some advantages as well, right? So the circumstances of life are constantly changing. If we take plants, for instance, there's a time that we will plant them, we will harvest them, we will cut down everything. I don't know how many of us have been to farms before or grew up in farms, right? If I remember in our farm, when I growing up, we will plant, we go till the soil, we plant them, we harvest them, we cut all the corn stalks away. We cut them away, we bend them, and then we start another planting season. So there's time for everything. And when we bring that to the life of human beings, so there's a time that we are born. Between the time that we are born and the time that we die, it's already a set time that we have. And this time is beset with ups and downs. There are roller coasters in it. And that tells you that if you are in a difficult situation today, obviously the days will be better at some other point. If it is better today, you should not assume that tomorrow will be better. Right? So having all of this at our hands, that we all have a set limited time that we need to operate in. And also given the fact that there's always ups and downs in this time that we have, what kind of mindset should we have? And as we said, the circumstances of life are always changing, and there's need for us to be ready for those changing occasions. Nothing in life stays in its current state. Nothing stays permanent. And life itself is a vapor, as we said before, that when he says fleeting, that's what he meant, that it is a vapor. It's transitory, it's emotional at the time, it's not a standstill. And so, because of this, we need to have a certain kind of frame that this time that is allocated to all of us 24 hours a day, we have to maximize its use in preparation for our future or the time that is unknown. And we're not talking about, tomorrow we don't know, so we prepare for it. But also, when time ends for you and eternity begins, what's the preparation that you're making? That's the point Solomon tries to draw us into. That there's time for all of these things. There's up and down. Man have a set time to live on earth. This time is not rosy. There are a lot of difficulties in this as well. So, what sort of mindset do you need to have? Right? That all this chasing that we are doing, all this chasing we are doing, whether wealth, whether it's pleasure, whether it's wisdom, knowledge that we are chasing. It's good we are doing all of this, right? But he says that we can do that only within a certain certain amount of time that we can do this. And it's not like we're going to have the time to always be doing the chasing. There are times that we cannot do the chasing. There are times that the wind will be against us. Right? So, given all of this, what sort of mindset should you have? It basically means that on this earth that we will go. But we need to look beyond that. And every human being, whether you're a Christian, you're an atheist, or whether you are agnostic, that's the question that we think about. What happens after here? Some say that after here we go into nothingness. That's your idea that you have. You've thought about what happens after life. And your conclusion is that you go into some oblivion, nothing happens there. But you have thought about what happens. Somebody says that after here, there's judgment, there's heaven and hell. The person has thought about it and drawn the conclusion based on his faith. Some says that after here you go, and if you did good, you come back as a human being or a rich person. If you did bad, you come back like an animal. And then probably a lizard and somebody will be stoning you. So the person has thought about it and made conclusions. So I didn't know, but in Africa, in Ghana, I used to try stones at lizards. I don't know, that's something like that joy as well.
Hey, Joy.
Oh, yeah, I mean, you're a kid. You're a kid, you are like how many years old, like Roy. There are lizards, you chase them, you have catapults. I mean, sometimes we skin them.
It's a bad behavior.
We skin them. So, that is you know.
Bad trading.
And for those people, they think that for animals like that, probably they were very bad in their previous life. And that's their punishment. At the end of the day, they are talking about the end of time and eternity for them. So that's how they do conclusions after life.
So this is what we thought to goats, right?
Then,
Yeah, stubborn. You talk
yeah, it comes to a good.
I want this one to come and chop. Good meat.
Everyone's eating goat meat in this house.
So the point Solomon tries to make in the verse 3:1-8 is that there's always changing seasons in time, and all of us have changing faith. And then it is our job to make preparations for the time that we do not know or what will happen in the tomorrow. And it's not just about tomorrow as we are living, but tomorrow that we are dead as well. We need to make time for that. Right? So you should never assume that life will be like this as it is now. There's so many of us, the workaholics. I need to do this work so that I'll clear it. And I have time for family and I have time for friends. I need to, give me 1 week. Let me finish this. The 1 week where I can realize that you probably may not have finished, or you have another week that you need again, and on and on and on it goes. And then basically, as we said last week, before you realize you moved away from your family or your close ones. And now somebody said that life is a coin. You can spend it any way you want, but you can spend it only once. So you flip it, probably whichever side comes up, you spend it, but that's why you get to spend it one time. So the decision on what you spend it on is important. And that is what we must come to. So as we go along, Solomon will tell us how God makes a difference in all of this. Right? And then he continues by saying that because in view of all of this, that time is limited, God has given man this eternity in our hearts. So all of us have that yearning. We are searching what is beyond this life because we see people die. And we ask the question, so what happens to them? Maybe Christians already, now we know. Some answers have been given to us. But that's the question everybody has. What happens after this life? What happens? And that is God's own doing. God has placed those things in our hearts. And that is what Paul will say, that's what Paul said, that's what he taught us. So we are all groping and searching in the dark for him. Yeah. We are all seeking because he's placed that thing inside us. And he's giving us time that you have this limited time. Again, he's giving you something inside that makes you look for him. And the idea is that instinct that you have inside you is to make you realize that whilst you are here, within the time, you should look for him and prepare for life in eternity. So he has made everything beautiful in his time. He has also set eternity in the human heart. Yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. So he's giving us that insight to look for him. But our idea that we are going to search and understand everything and look into everything, we will not understand. We will not know everything. You cannot know everything. And so stop chasing. Stop looking for the greener pasture which not bring satisfaction. And use your limited time here to prepare for him or eternity or look for him. So despite the knowledge of the brevity of life and the ever-changing nature of our circumstances, we have within us an innate feeling that there is something more to life, and you talked a lot about that previously. Everyone ponders the meaning of life. Everyone considers a life after death. Everyone thinks that there is something more that will happen to us when we die. And what we need to know, the time has begun for each of us, but our time has not yet ended. Are we ready for time to end and eternity to begin? That's a question that we must ask. You know, oh, God has added another year to my life. Yeah, I mean, it is true, but probably if you look at it from reverse, then you know that He's taking another year from your life as well.
Yeah.
So, probably you should always celebrate that as well. Celebrate it in that reverse too, sort of to remind us of what that our time. You know, if it were a glass hour, you know that it's dripping, the sun is going. The one at the bottom is becoming more, and the one at the top is falling short. So that's how we need to observe our life as. Each day that passes, we get closer to our end of time. We do not know when that will come. So as someone said, that's like you are crossing the road, you are crossing the motorway. You know, you see the car very far. If you don't cross fast, if you didn't twinkle of an eye, the car is at you, at where you are, then you are gone. That is what it is. You know, we see life like, yeah, I mean, I'm here today, I'm strong. What tomorrow I'll be here. Yes, 40 minutes. Yes, tomorrow I'll be here. Yes, tomorrow I'll be here. What is the worst that can happen? We make plans for tomorrow, and I think we look that tells us that we should always add God, that if God wills.
Yeah.
Many of us you take that if you're in Europe and your system works, you take the God wills out because you know probably the trams will work unless it is snowing. If it doesn't snow, the trams work, your bus will come, there'll be a few delays, but everything usually works. You know, we make plans like that. Some of us have summer plans already, you know, vacation, everything already. But he's saying that we should make that assumption that it will always be there, and then we're going to have that. So whilst we realize that it's just for us, and our time is fleeting, we should also realize that the yearning in our hearts, it is so that we can find Him, so that when time here ends, we can make time beyond. We'll come to that. We have 25 minutes. I'll do 10 minutes and then we have questions. The 12th, Ecclesiastes chapter 3, verse 12, 15. I know that there is nothing better for people than to be happy and to do good while they live, that each of them may eat and drink and find satisfaction in all their toil. This is the gift of God. Again, he emphasizes that's the gift of God. I know that everything God does will endure forever. Nothing can be added to it, and nothing taken from it. God does it so that people will fear Him. Whatever has already been, and what will be has been before, and God will call the past to account. And I saw something else under the sun. In the place of judgment, wickedness was there. In the place of justice, wickedness was there. I said to myself, God will bring into judgment both the righteous and the wicked. For there will be time for every activity, a time to judge every deed. So now he begins to draw in the God factor.
Yeah.
Okay. Whilst all this time is available for you, say God has given you this time. And then whatever you use that time to do, you account for it. Of course, you must enjoy the time, which is the gift of God, that you must enjoy the thoughts of your labor. But how you do that enjoyment, you will account for it. If that enjoyment for you is to go to satisfy your pleasure, you know, the physical needs, you know, and not look for that which is right before God. Says you give account for that as well. You know. And nothing in life is permanent, and nothing in this life is perfect. But God's work is permanent and perfect. Our fertility should lead us to God's perfection. Right? So that is the yearning that is in us, that we should look for the perfection that is in God. For all of us, everything that we do is imperfect. Then I said that God has fixed everything. He's done everything. He said, at the end of creation, he said that God looked at all that he has done and it was perfect in size. You know. So that perfection has been done already, and God is perfect. So our imperfection is why we are not eternal. And so we must begin to look for God so that we can be part of that perfection and that eternity. That should be our long-term goal. So I will leave it here, and then we would, of course, I have one slide, but if there are questions or there are suggestions, we will bring them up. Otherwise, then I'll go to the next one. Then he says, as I also said to myself, as for humans, God tells them so that they may see that they are like the animals. Surely the fate of human beings is like that of the animals. Here again, he's looking at life without God. If anybody sat and look at how things work, human beings die, animals die. That's the fate of human beings. We die, we all die. You know. Surely the fate of human beings is like that of the animals. The same fate awaits them both. As one dies, so dies the other. All have the same breath, of course. We all do the same thing. We don't breathe any special air than the animals do. We don't. Humans have no advantage over animals. Everything is meaningless. All go to the same place. All come from the same dust. All come from dust. And to dust all return. Who knows if the human spirit rises upward and if the spirit of the animal goes down into the earth? So I saw that there is nothing better for a person than to enjoy their work, because that is their lot. For who can bring them to see what will happen after them? Again, he makes the state of man very, I'm looking for the right word, but it's a very abject situation, you know, like very poor. That's the situation of man. There's no difference between us and human beings. If you look at it, if you take God away, and animals die, they bury them, they decay, they become soil. Human beings, we die, bury, put us in a casket. The casket, 5 years, 10 years, it will decay. We will go inside it, it is decayed, it's bones. Give the bones a few tens, hundreds years, it will also decay. Everything will go into dust. So if you look at it from that point of view, there's no advantage that human being has over animal. We breathe. If you pollute the environment, the animals, the human beings also have the same fate. You will die. There's nothing better, you know. Again, if you take that from the God point of view, and who knows whether human beings are going to go up or it goes down, and the animals goes down. And if it goes down, where does it go? Up, where does it go? These are questions. Basically, it says that there's nothing for the human being. If you take God away from everything else, then you are the same like the animals. And that's an interesting point that he brings out. If a human being takes God out of your life, you are like an animal. Your faith is like the animal. There's no advantage you have over the animal. The advantage you have is grace. Human beings have grace from God, from Christ. God himself came to die for us, and then we'll spend time in eternity with him. That's the advantage human beings have. For animals, they don't have that grace. So if you take God out of your life completely, you're like the animal. You die, and then that's all. Probably you have a worse fate because you face judgment. Because in the previous verse, God will bring every deed into judgment, the good and the bad. Because at the place of judgment, there was wickedness there. And so your fate probably is even worse than the animal. You know, at some point you tell us that the only one who has a good case is the child that was never born. That's the only person probably who has some advantage. The child that was never born. The adult child, the adult and the child, those who are living, we all have a very precarious state. The only one who has a better advantage is the one who was never born. And even for those who die, they don't have any better case because they are facing judgment as well. So Solomon constantly draws the point where he makes us see the precarious nature of human beings and our state in which we are if we do things without God. And I saw that all toil and all achievement spring from one person's envy of another. This too is meaningless, a chasing after the wind. Fools fold their hands and ruin themselves. Better one handful with tranquility than 2 handfuls with toil and chasing after the wind. Again, I saw futility under the sun. There is a person without a companion, without even a son or a brother. And when I was reading this, I remember what we discussed last week. Your professor who didn't have any children and he was just by himself. So that he never asked, for whom am I toiling and depriving myself of pleasure? This too is futile and a miserable task. You know, though one may be overpowered, two can defend themselves. And the cord of trust is not quickly broken. So here I put a lot together so we can conclude on chapter 4 faster. You know, he says that there's no rest as the workaholic is always thinking about more work that needs to be done. That's the state of the workaholic. He's constantly working. But does it mean that we should not work? He gives the answer in the 5. He says, no, it's only a fool that folds their hands and does not work. But what he's trying to tell you is that you must find a perfect balance between work and in your life as well. That is what he provides. Better one handful. So if your work gives you a handful, let's say a cup of grains, or that you can get for your work, he says that you should enjoy that in tranquility, in peace, than to struggle to get two. That is full of sorrows, and you are struggling, you are banging your head left, right, center, so you can get more money, so you can survive. He says no. If you earn 200 krona from an honest work, better to enjoy that one, have content that, than to sacrifice everything to get 400 krona. That's what he draws our attention to. He said,
Go to work, they see overtime, weekend.
yeah. And again, so you see, and then he says that there's a person who has no dependence. He has no dependence, but that person is toiling. He's working more and more.
Future.
The future that you do not know. The future that you do not know.
Better than nothing.
So your job, he's saying that your task now is to enjoy what your hand gives you, your honest labor gives you. That's the wisdom, that's the gift that God has given you. Strength to work and enjoy that. But not that you work and don't even have time to enjoy what you have. Yes.
Some people end up paying back to the government for working too much.
Yeah, because you have more money, so you pay back. But that is what you want.
If
If you earn more, you give. In fact, I don't know about Sweden, but in Ghana, when you marry, you can actually you can ask for tax rebate. If you have kids, you can ask for more tax rebate.
Really?
Yes. The law is it, but you don't get much from it, so no many people use it. But it exists. I don't know about Sweden, but at least in Ghana it exists. Even society recognizes the fact that you have dependents and that they need to enjoy from the work of your labor. So they take less from you. So Solomon now tells us that's God's gift for you to enjoy that. Not to be engrossed in your work all the time and doing more and more and more. Work what is necessary, enjoy quietness, and spend time. Enjoy life with others. Yes.
I don't want you to skip that second paragraph.
This one.
No, in your point.
Yes. Okay.
The second sentence.
Work what you need and enjoy the fruit of your labor. Stop looking at what others have. Yes, good. That's something I'm talking about. So he says that all our toil and our achievement is towards envy. And it's
true.
It is true because we look at what others have.
Yeah.
It may not be like I want what they have, but it's not like you want what theirs, but you want some for yourself.
Yes.
And that is what it is. Usually that drives us. I think we had this discussion some time ago. Yeah. That's what drives us to do those things. Oh, this is a nice car. Wow, I'll get some. Okay. Then you work. It becomes your dream. Maybe the car is very simplistic, but I have this dream. You have a certain dream, you have this mentor, this person that you're looking up to. That you must be. And it is the reason why lifestyle on social media, those who do lifestyle make more money on social media. And that's the reason, because people want to see what happens in people's life. People want to see what happens behind the wall in people's house. And then, probably can learn something from it, or they can be happy that, things are not going that well for them. We used to have this discussion some time ago in Africa, Ghana, and we used to say it's the Ghanaian, but I don't think it's a Ghanaian. It's the Ghanaian that we are happy when there's somebody else is in trouble, or when we speak better than somebody. When you realize that it's not all that bad for me. Somebody has it worse than I have it. Then there's some peace within you. Okay. I mean, it's not just me. Somebody has it worse than well. Yeah. So Solomon, this observation that Solomon has made, that it stems from envy of what another person has. We must have it. We must be like them also. Maybe to belong, or to even be the one that we'll look up to. And that's what Solomon is telling us. To be wary of. We skip the 1 to 4, the verse 1 to 4 or to 3. Talks about oppression in our societies. And it sort of addresses the question of why there's so much evil in the world as well. Yeah, I mean, it's a question time. Nobody has questions. That's why I'm using the question time.
But if you don't wait, we have many questions.
But I said if you don't ask questions, ask. I'm waiting. Nobody asks. That's why I continue. Yes. So for yes, I'm just using the question time.
Question.
Ask if you have a question, otherwise I'll continue.
I don't have a question, but I have comments.
Yeah.
And I think that we have a lot of information today.
A lot, indeed.
So I'm just making a comment on because when you talked about you see somebody has a car and then you're like, you want this for myself, then it also makes you go and toil more. And I read a book and I think that it ties into this one. So it's just a comment. Like you work so hard and then you get this car and you're riding it and you're so happy about it. But when people see the car, they don't see the toil or they don't even see the person. They only see the car.
Oh, this guy is nice.
And they work to get the car. And then you also, when you have the car, another person sees it and doesn't even know what is behind it, or you who is riding the car and is just thinking of how I'm going to get this car. It's just the car.
Yeah, just the car. Yes.
A comment also, are you done?
Yeah, I'm done.
You know, sometimes I observe there's this slogan in our country, Japa, Japa, Japa.
Yeah.
And
Run away.
the many reasons, and this is the so-called reason that people are doing that Japa is,
Yeah.
they look at other people's, when
Yeah.
your friend Japa like this, or because your friend Japa, maybe you are doing well, you are currently, but because your friend Japa,
Yeah.
you don't even care
Yeah.
whether that person is struggling or is doing well, because that person is Japa, you want to work in Japa. That's why I want to
Yeah.
because it's so common.
Yeah.
And then when observe
Yeah,
everything
yeah.
is something else.
We are not trying to fix our countries. We all just want to live and then enjoy. All is about enjoyment.
Because other people are
And then we don't know that there is all sorrows. There's a lot of sorrows here
Yeah.
abroad.
It brings the question, you want to say something? You want to say something?
Maybe you should ask a question.
No, it's not a question. I'm just going to make a comment on this.
Okay.
It's fine.
I think the thought I want to talk about is where does either when man dies, does the spirit go up? When the animal dies, does the spirit go down? You know, when I was, let me say like 4 or 5 years back, I think up to now I still do it, only that recently I've not done that. You know, I do have some nasty moments at times that I try to imagine things and I want to bring it into reality. You know, most times I do feel like, how does he feel like to die? And most times, actually, it do occur to me most times in the night, and I want to form death. Like I want to have that feeling. I will not be asking questions. If someone touch me, if I die, will I know? Which weather will I feel? Will I feel cool? Will I feel hot? You understand? I try to imagine people inside caskets, you know, the way they do burial ceremony in Africa, you know, when they brought the casket, the coffin from the morgue, they open it. You know, I try to do all those things like, okay, dead body, don't shake. You understand? You know, I just want to be like, I want to immerse myself in that feeling. Like, where does it actually end? Actually, I think that part of the Bible is what led me into that. Okay, we died, we are thrown into the. How will my spirit escape? Where will it go to? You know, all those things. I'm most times like, then this life is nonsense.
Yeah.
And the point that you made that people will labor, and after their labor, they leave it. They don't even know maybe the child they are leaving it to is a wise child or is a, you know. If you look at many wealthy people, especially from Africa, you know that their wealth is not always transgenerational. It doesn't go beyond maximum 2 generations. For instance, there is this popular people, MK Abiola, in Nigeria.
Abiola.
Yeah.
The president.
He contested for president but never became the president. Okay. So he won the election but he never became the president.
Yeah.
He was so wealthy, known everywhere, you know. But now even his children, his immediate children, you won't actually say that these are the children of this man. Everything looks so squandered, scattered. Even the few estates that people knows about him, he doesn't really want it. You understand?
Yeah.
And at times I used to look at it. Okay, so what exactly is the labor we are doing here on earth for? What is it exactly for? You know, to me, I think most times what used to be my conclusion is okay. It shows to you that nobody owns this earth, and no matter how big you think you are, that you oppress everybody, you turn yourself to a tiger. Like he said, everybody have the same fate. There is one thing that is common to everybody. Either you are rich, you are poor, you are tall, you are short, you are black or white. It's death. So, no matter what you think you have, you will still die. The way every other person dies. Yeah, the only thing, yeah, and like you said, maybe we try to do some fancy thing so that the family will feel happy. Not that the person that died feel happy. They put you in a fancy coffin. There's no difference between you that they put in a fancy coffin and someone that fire bomb and they couldn't. There's no difference.
Yeah.
Death is death. So then I think it's just a lesson to everyone that take life easy. Like I think actually that part of time, share time with people that matters. That's just it.
Yeah, I think it's Solomon. That's the conclusion you would draw at some point in time. But you see, the thing about the death and the when they lay somebody in state, the person is not prepared very well. You must go back. You have to buy the person with this time. If they don't, the body begins to
decay.
And then at that point, you know what they say? That thing is spoiling. Hurry up and go and buy it.
That thing.
They don't say the man, they say or the woman.
That thing.
I dare not say that thing is spoiling. That thing is spoiling. I mean, I've been to the morgue before.
This body, yeah.
I didn't even nobody's been there, but when my dad died and I went to the morgue. I mean, we just entered the place, for those. So on this side are those who die on the streets, robbers, and they just pile them up.
No identification.
No, they're just there, just like that. This side, those who identify don't have money, so they are packed nicely down somewhere. Men, women, naked, all together, touch shots there. And then there are those who are very okay, they put them in something, and those are well to do, they put them in a place that is covered, they pull out. Truth be told, these people, they don't know what's happening, whether they don't know the differentiation. These bodies don't know the differentiation. It is for me who is going to watch you feel that, oh, my daddy is in that thing that we can pull out. But it's for me, my own ego. It's not for that my daddy, because he doesn't know what's happening. And that is the reality of life. When you pass that time, when your time is up for you, all these things that's happening is for me to feel good. That's why I'm doing something good for my dad. And the Bible encourages me to do that.
Yeah.
The Bible encourages me, the son or the daughter, to make sure that, and it will come to the Ecclesiastes, to make sure that you keep up for your parents like that. It is good. But for you, the parents, all these things is oblivious to you. You don't know what's happening. You don't know. And if you come back to the riches, if we spend time with our kids and train them well, we leave them with 100 krona. They marry the 100 krona, probably get 1,000 krona from it. If you don't spend time with their kids and train them with 1,000,000 krona, it will come to 100 krona. And that is the wisdom God gives all of us. You spend time with the family, train the child the way they should go, how they ought to order their own affairs, provide them with a future. It doesn't matter how small it is, to manage it. But if you don't spend time with them, you provide them with some huge future, it will just go because they don't have the wisdom to manage those resources well. And that is what it is for many of us. So that's what Solomon tries to bring our attention to when it comes to life and its fleetings, how we ought to manage our ways. And the Bible is but when you put the Bible, every part of the Bible together, then everything makes sense to us. I wanted to bring that when you guys were talking about wealth and not like everybody wanting to move out and not stay inside and make the nation better, or we're looking at people. If you put the Bible together, those who have, what is the attitude, for instance? Is to flaunt it, is to rub it in the face of the poor.
Exactly.
And if you do that, everybody wants to be like you. The nature of man is to acquire what others have. But if you rub it the more, then the more they will want to be like you. So everybody goes, nobody stays to build. Or everybody wants to be like you. There are those who come with arms and come and take what you have so they can be like you. And there are those who do all sorts of things, by themselves to get what you want. And then it doesn't engender the benefit of society. So if you put all the Bible into context, and you are rich, if you have, you know how to live your life, how to make sure you get to everybody, everybody feels secure in society, everybody feels that they have, and then we build it together. So I'll leave it here. Probably we'll continue next week as well, if there are no comments or questions.
My only comment is about how human beings, if we look at the life in perspective, we should really humble ourselves and not be too pompous and feel like we are better than somebody, because it's pathetic. Our life is so pathetic. How we end up very naked before everybody.
Yeah, it's strangest.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, maybe that is too graphic, but